Hello, welcome back to my allotment garden. It is the 22nd of December today, and yesterday we passed the winter solstice, so I've got a great big smile on my face because from now on the days are only going to get longer, and that is such a sigh of relief because I always forget just how short and dark the days are as we go into the middle of winter, and it can be quite depressing. So I'm so glad that the longer days are finally coming, and soon spring is going to come around real quick, and before you know it we're going to have bulbs blooming again, and there's going to be a lot more hope and brightness for the future. December has actually been a really rocky month for me. I've not been on the plot much at all, for one or two big reasons. This is a bit of a life update that I'll try not to dwell on for too long. But essentially I was made redundant from my job, and on the same day as my last shift my car decided to break down. So really rubbish day that was. So I was without a car for a little while, which meant I couldn't even get here. Good news is the car's sorted. I've got a new old car. So I've been made redundant, and the main reason I'm telling you guys is not for sympathy or for your money. I just know that some of you are quite invested in me and what I'm doing and my career. So if you don't know, in 2018 I left my previous office job in marketing and photography to pursue my dream, my career. I have a calling for horticulture now, and I realise that's what I want to do in life. So I managed to get a job working as a gardener at a private estate called Barton Hall in Derbyshire, and I worked there for the last two and a half-ish years, and it was just such a dream to work in such beautiful gardens. And they had a walled garden. We grew lots of fruit and veg for the hall. We got to make loads of different flower arrangements, and just all of the skills and experience that I've gained from working there. I'm so lucky, and I'm taking that away with a really full heart. It's just really unfortunate that due to a change of circumstances at the hall I've been made redundant. So I'm not working at the moment. I'm looking for a new job, thinking about what I want to do in the future. I'd quite like to try nursery work, but we'll see. Got to see what's out there. Obviously it's a really difficult time, and I know that quite a few others are probably in a similar situation. Maybe even you might have been made redundant in the last few months or this year. With the pandemic, it's just been really tough for a lot of people, and it might not get better for a little while yet. So yeah, really difficult time, but I'm trying not to be too negative, trying to stay positive and look forward with some hope. Thinking about what I want to do next and applying for jobs. But on the plus side, you might get some more videos out of me until I'm employed again. So you might see a little bit more of me in the beginning of the new year. So that's one thing. So that's the life bit out of the way. So now you'll understand why I haven't been up too much on the plot. But I have got all of my spring bulbs planted. Finished that actually just yesterday. So woohoo! We're going to have lots of blooms in spring, and I've planted a few seeds. Some of those are actually popping up in the polytunnel, so have a look at those. My garlic is showing signs of life, and we'll have a little tour. Not sure how long it's going to be today because there's not as much to see, but if you're here, thank you, because it's the middle of winter and not many people would choose to watch a winter plot tour. So thanks for joining me. Let's go start the tour. I'll head up to the gate and we'll have a little look around and see what's going on the plot in the middle of December. I haven't made a wreath for my gate this year, but I have made some for the shed and at home. Had a lot of fun making those. And here we are. Rather grey, overcast, typical kind of British winter day today. I've got a little pile there of some brambles. I've started to have a clear back of this section. This is all going to change hopefully in springtime with a lot more flowers to go here. My lovely little Christmas tree. Didn't actually decide to bring this one indoors this year. This is my plot Christmas tree and I think it will stay that way. Just do really love that blue spruce. such a beautiful texture. Have you got a Christmas tree this year? And it's the old big argument, do you go for real or fake? You know, I've only recently started to have real Christmas trees. This one's obviously potted and rooted, so this will keep going for a few more years yet, hopefully. Obviously the leek bed is empty. We harvested all those last month. And the strawberry beds, much the same. Everything's dying back, needs a little bit of a tidy. Although I do tend to leave the dying leaves of these strawberries to kind of create a little mulch on the plants, protect them from the worst of any frosts or heavy snow if we get any. Now under here, I've been doing a little bit of work over the last few days. And first of all, I've actually removed quite a lot of weeds. So first of all, I went round and removed quite a lot of the brambles and the docks as well. I mean, look at these ones here. You only have a few leaves on the top, but underneath, oh my god, these are as long as my arm, if not longer. And it just goes to show how much root growth goes on underground that you don't know about. But whilst the conditions are still quite mild at the moment, we haven't had too many hard frosts, the ground is still quite soft, they're really easy to pull out at this time of the year. So I've been weeding, and I've also planted in about this section here some wild garlic, and the wild garlic looks quite strange and it's going to have a few different benefits. It's going to help mulch the ground from those weeds underneath the apple tree. It's going to be edible. It has an edible leaf that we can make into pesto or mix into butter, and also it has a flower that the pollinators love. Now, a word of warning, wild garlic can be a little bit invasive, so I'm happy for it to sort of romp away under the apple tree because it's a shady spot, not much else will really grow there, and I'm happy because I won't mind having a lot of wild garlic to use. But you might not want it to overrun in your area, so that's just something to consider. I've also planted the remaining tulip bulbs in here. Those are the pink ones that I grew last year that I said I'd put under this tree. Squirrels might have them, they might not, we will see. But in terms of what's happening on here now, we have the hellebores coming into bloom. Beautiful winter flower. And I actually haven't cut back the foliage on these yet. Winter flowering hellebores, it's a good idea to remove all of these leaves because that's last year's leaf growth. It will have new ones appear after these flowers bloom. And the reason we cut them back is to prevent the black spot. I really do like the sort of dark purpley burgundy ones with like the petticoat flowers. Oh, so yes, I really hope these sort of spread because hellebores can be quite expensive to buy because they're so slow growing. But oh gosh, look, we've got lots of buds on the way. This has been in for 2 or 3 years now, so it is actually starting to bulk up quite nicely. Oh, I'm just so happy to see them come at the best time. Now also, these 2 rhubarb patches have completely died back for winter, as you'd expect, but when I was planting those bulbs, look what I spotted. And this isn't old growth, this is new growth from my early variety, Timperley Early. Obviously it's raring to go, we've had such a mild autumn and winter. And it looks like I've got some crocus appearing as well. These ones must have got knocked out yesterday. Signs of spring on the way already as we go into the new year. And these are also starting to spread as well. I've got quite a clump forming of my crocus. These ones are a really bright yellow colour. Some other unusual sightings that I spotted is my autumn fruiting raspberry is reflowering and fruiting, which is really unusual. Obviously it hasn't realised that it's winter yet. Have you had any sort of unusual sightings in your garden? I'm not sure how these will taste if they do fruit. I mean, that one's beginning to, but the last fruits of the season are always taste a little bit, well, not very nice. The last one that I ate was really rather unpleasant and I ended up spitting it out, so I don't hold out much hope that these are going to taste very nice with the cold weather. It's not going to be very sweet. I still need to do a little bit of tidying up around this end. You can't really see my stepping stones, they need a good scrub from my muddy boots from when I was working in here. Let's go this way around the wildlife corner this time. The birds are still loving the bird bath despite it being quite cold. I imagine the robin likes a quite cold bath because he's in it all the time. So around this section here there's a bit more terracotta chimney that broke off the other day, so I've just put there for any frogs and things next to the stack of logs there at the back. And in this section here I was busy removing a lot of brambles and nettles that started to creep out, and it actually stunted the growth of a lupin that I had there, so it was time to cut some of that back and dig out all the roots. And then I planted all my allium bulbs. I don't really grow many alliums, I've got 1 or 2 here or there, but this whole area, I can't wait. In May and June time next year we have lots of big balls of purple. We've got 2 different types of allium here. We've got the Christophii, which is a more shorter variety that grows to about 30 to 40 centimetres, and then Purple Sensation, which is going to be much taller, so I've planted it at the back and that will grow to about 60 or 70 centimetres. It's going to flower around the same time as the lupins, so we're going to have lots of different funky shapes going on and the bees are going to be all over it. I can't wait. So that's the wildlife corner for December, quite bare. Oh, hello Robin. I think this one is asking me to top up the bird feeders, aren't you? Eh? I do love the robin, they're so tame. The new bed under my shed is still looking really full and lush. Got lots of winter interest there, lots of different shape, colour and texture from all the ivy, the hellebores and that carex. And also some flowers. We've got the little pansies there at the front. My winter sort of salad bed is doing okay. We've got lots more pink chard to harvest. Just can't get over that vibrancy. At the back in my sort of composting area, I've got a lot to sort of tidy. That bulk bag's full of brambles and weeds that I've been pulling out. Those are all my pea sticks that I used this year for growing up. And yeah, we've got quite a bit to compost and chop up. And then hopefully, maybe if there's time, we might build a few extra compost bays before winter is out. They're still here. The straw flowers are looking, well, from this angle, they're looking really good and neat. Lots of buds on them. But actually, if I step back, you'll realise that they are all over the place. We've had quite a lot of heavy wind over the last couple of weeks. And the supports that I put in place aren't really sufficient anymore. But I think they're going to overwinter. I thought that the frost would completely zap them out, but they're still here despite the couple of frosts that we've had, so it looks like they're going to overwinter. But I am kind of tempted to chop them back because look, they're a little bit out of control. And I'll probably regrow them there anyway next year. I'm not quite sure yet, I haven't decided. So we'll just cross that bridge when I get to it, but I'm still harvesting lots of the flower heads and drying them at home. So such an amazing flower. Here's my seating area this month. Not much change except the what's it called? Japonica. Fatsia japonica. The Fatsia japonica is in full flower now, and I haven't seen any winter bees coming out, but I've seen a few flies, and you know what? The flies need food too, and this is such a brilliant plant to grow for pollinators because it provides nectar in the middle of winter. My winter flowering clematis is still teasing me with these buds that haven't opened yet. Maybe next month, maybe February. It's keeping me hanging, this is. On top of my table we've got the Rigeron, some lemon balm. This is the Nottingham catchfly. I basically bought it because of the name. It's a wildflower that I picked up from our local wildflower farm. Here's the plot from the bottom end. Lots of bare soil now at the moment. Although it's not actually bare soil, it's all compost, spent compost that I've been throwing onto my beds. Let's go this way. More of that amazing peppermint chard. Oh, can't get over the colour. We've also got more turnips that, to be honest with you, I'm mostly leaving in now just as a ground cover, because I realised, you know, it's my first time growing them, I don't really like the flavour that much. We've also got lots more of these celeriac growing. Haven't harvested any more of those yet. Or the parsnips. Do you remember that one last month? That was such a beast. Really hope we can have lots more. Over in the carrot bed, all of that nasturtium has now died back. I can actually see lots of seeds there on the soil that will sow themselves, so I don't have to worry about re-sowing this next year. It just sort of self-seeds and grows itself. Still got lots of carrots. I'm going to make sure that that netting is back on and secure before I leave, because I did have signs that a rat was visiting my plot a couple of weeks ago before the car broke down, because I found some droppings and there was a bit of a tunnel underneath my shed, and I think I've managed to send it on its way by stopping feeding the birds and blocking up those holes with some chicken wire. But down here, look, the garlic is on its way, and oh my god, this is the first signs of the elephant garlic. That's going to be really big. We've got 3 of those that have just spotted. That's another elephant garlic there, it's just come through. This variety is already grown about 6 inches tall. Really fast growing. This is the leader of all the others. And this one is called Carson White. I think this is the one that's actually particularly good for our British winters, which explains why it's doing so well. We've also got another row popped up. That's the Provence White. The Tuscany White. The shoots are just coming through now. And we've got, lots of garlic coming up, so fingers crossed. It's going to be a good year for garlic. Up to my big stone beds, and the dahlias are all lifted, and I've made a separate video on that in case you missed it. And I've put in some daffodils, my favourite cheerfulness variety, as well as these wallflowers that are just blooming now, and then we'll get another bloom in spring. And it's the same in both beds. We've got lots of wallflowers. So come April time, it's going to be full of daffodils, and the wallflowers will be taller with more flowers on them. Right, let's have a look what's going on in the polytunnel. Here in the polytunnel, I've got a few plants here that I've actually lifted and moved into containers, including a pink and a bright orange straw flower, for the sole purpose of collecting the seed. I really like these colours, and when they're outside, if the flower blooms and it gets wet, then the seeds aren't really viable. You can't really collect the seed, so I'm hoping that I can pollinate these and collect the seed from a sheltered position where they aren't going to go all mouldy and mushy. I've also got a couple of penstemons. This one's still got some flowers on. These were underneath my apple tree, but I removed them when I was planting those bulbs the other day because I wasn't quite happy with their position. They didn't get enough sunshine to bloom properly, so I'm going to move these penstemon plants up by the gate along that fencing near the entrance. On my potting table this month, I have some garlic that was left over that I couldn't fit in my bed. So we've got a couple of soft neck and also a few hard neck that are also just sprouting now. These are a bit further behind because I planted those a little bit later. We've got my fig plant with the erigeron that's self-seeded, and I need to pop that up into its own little pot because I want much more erigeron for next year. This here is a pink coloured flowering azalea that I got free with an order of bulbs that I received, so that's going to be potted up soon because it's quite a small container. Need to check on the roots of that one. And this is my dwarf mulberry that's actually got the signs of fruit on it. Is that what I'm seeing here? That's really weird. But I think that in the springtime this is going to need repotting as well, because it's quite a small container and it's black, so it dries out really quickly, so that needs potting up. This was in some of my hanging arrangements over the summertime. I'm going to cut it back and see if I can overwinter it, because it's a really nice silvery foliage and I love that silvery colour, and it's got quite a soft leaf as well. My Cape gooseberry is now at the back. It's still flowering, but because of the damp weather with some mildew problems, can you see there, it's looking a little bit furry. So I'm not sure how much more they'll fruit. As you can see here, some of the older leaves are starting to turn yellow and drop off, but also again a little bit of a fungal issue going on, so I'll just keep removing it, any signs of mould. Right at the back there I've actually got a couple of chilli plants, and I've just moved this one here to show you something. I did try overwintering them once before and it didn't work because I had them at home and I'll be honest, I forgot about them, and they look like ugly sticks, so they weren't very interesting to look at in my house over winter. But I've cut this one right back, and it's the Alma paprika, and I've just seen a few videos all about bonsai-ing chili plants, and they call it bonchi. And I cut this back a little while ago and it's regrowing again. And I'm thinking I'm going to try experimenting with this bonchi and maybe grow some bonsai chilies. That's going to be a really fun little experiment. So yeah, I might actually take some of these home to keep them warm and start my bonchi. I've actually moved one of my rackings into here now because I had quite a few seedlings on the go. But the foxgloves can probably do with potting up. They're getting a little bit big for these little cell trays. Rigeron and the nigella. But I've also planted, towards the end of November I planted these, my broad beans. The variety is called Agadulce. Yeah, I planted them on the 29th. So just after the November tour. They haven't shot up yet, but I've just had a little rummage and look, the shoot is just about to appear. Underneath here we have some peas. These are the meteor peas, and these are just starting to come through now. And my little chicken wire method may look a little bit crazy, but it works. And I did this last year after a lot of mice came and stole my sweet peas. It's basically just to stop the mice, stop the rodents, because they love peas and the seedlings. So I'm going to keep this mesh on for a little while longer, and hopefully we'll have some early peas this year. And we've got some more broad beans down there as well. I haven't started off my sweet pea flowers yet. I haven't actually got any seeds, so I need to get some of that and maybe sow them soon. So here's the view of the top of the plot towards the end of December in 2020. You hear lots of birds calling as they're about to settle down. It's starting to get a little bit dark, but the longer days are coming. As we go into the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start to think about sowing my chili seeds. And I'm really excited because I've got a new little project lined up for my home, for my propagation setup, to start off my chilies particularly, and lots of my other seeds. It's a really exciting project that I can't wait to start in the new year. So I'm sure I'll get some videos up when I've done it. So I'm actually looking for some dwarf chilies to grow this year. I'm going to challenge myself and try and grow a few crops within my home. So if you know of any varieties that you can recommend me, dwarf growing chilies and tomatoes, particularly that don't grow much taller than about 12 to 18 inches maybe, because I'm really looking forward to this little project that I've got lined up in the new year. So I'm sure I'll get some videos up when I've done it. So I'm actually looking for some dwarf chilies to grow this year. I'm going to challenge myself and try and grow a few crops within my home. So if you know of any varieties that you can recommend me, dwarf growing chilies and tomatoes, particularly that don't grow much taller than about 12 to 18 inches maybe, because I'm really looking forward to this little project that I've got lined up. Speaking of seeds, I actually need to place an order. I haven't ordered any seeds yet for next year, so I've got that to look forward to, looking through those catalogues and getting all the varieties ordered that I want to try. And otherwise, lots of planning for next year now, and thinking about my future, what I'm going to be doing in terms of my career and my job. But yeah, Christmas is just around the corner. I don't know if this video is coming to you before or after Christmas. Either way, Christmas for a lot of us this year is going to be very, very different, and it might be quite hard and tough, but I'm just thinking ahead to spring. That's what's keeping me going at the moment. So however you're celebrating, I hope that you're staying safe, that your family are safe, and thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you real soon. I really hope as well that I see you before the end of the year. I'm hoping to make a little video of the highlights of this year, bit of a reflections, and sort of see what's gone wrong and what went well kind of thing. So yeah, hopefully that will be out before the end of the year. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you're well. Leave me a comment, say hello in the comments below. So thank you for watching. Goodbye for now. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you real soon.